reassure parents and guardians of those children that will be safely delivered to them very, very soon.
Another wave of relief sweeps Minna as Governor Bago receives 100 released Papiri school children.
When you pay your fair share, you are directly investing in the school your child attends, the road to your businesses, and the security that guards your homes.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Federal government launches My Nigeria, My Responsibility campaign.
Not every idea will become a startup, but it is a sincere hope some will evolve into patents and licensable technologies.
What a time to be a Nigerian student as federal government unveils 3 billion naira landmark initiative for student-led innovation. Hello and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. Glad to be back from a brief vacation. Joining me from Lagos is Adiola Komiakere. While right here in Abuja on the business segment is Musa Abubakar, and on the sports, keeping us up to speed in the world of sports, Ayo Makinde. Let's start with you, Ayo. What have you got for us?
Well, it's a good day in the Nigeria Premier Football League for Nasarawa United as they've regained top spots after a 1-0 victory over Shooting Stars of Ibadan.
Thank you, Ayo. How about Musa? What's happening?
Equities market begins the week in positive territory.
All right, that's good to know. Remember that this broadcast is being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live. And do follow us across social media. Our handles are displayed on your screen, rather. Now the news in detail. Niger State Governor Mohammed Umaru Bago has received 100 students and pupils kidnapped from St. Mary's Catholic School, Papiri, in Agwara local government area of the state, given assurance of the release of those still in captivity. Representative of the federal government who rescued the hostages, Wing Commander Abdullahi Dari, formally handed over the children to the state government. Hussein Musa reports.
The release of the abductees was as a result of intense and coordinated operation conducted by the Office of the National Security Advisor, Department of State Security Services, and the Armed Forces, as well as other security agencies. The feat deepens the federal government's resolve to protect the lives and livelihoods of the citizens, even as it provides short protective measure in high-risk areas.
We are implementing immediate short-term protective measures in high-risk areas, while concurrently working with state government, traditional and religious leaders to develop lasting community-based security solution. For education, it will not be casualty of violence. We will continue to pursue policies and operations that restore confidence. We will open schools safely and ensure that the right of every Nigerian child to learn in safety is upheld.
We wish to recover the remaining students that are still in captivity, and by the grace of God, in a very short time from now, we're going to recover them, inshallah. I want to reassure parents and guardians of these children that will be safely delivered to them very, very soon. We have called on medical health workers to come and look at them. They will be checked properly and before taking them back to the parents. We're working closely with CAN to make sure that they are safely returned back home.
The release of the 100 abductees 17 days after the kidnapping brings relief to some parents, but uncertainty and anxiety persist for families of those still in captivity, including their teachers, highlighting the need for continued efforts to secure their safe return. Emena Hussein Musa, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has commended security agencies for their tireless effort in securing the freedom of the 100 students of Papiri Catholic School in Niger State. While expressing his joy over the safe return of the students, the president equally charged the security agencies to ensure the swift release of the remaining 115 and their teachers who are still being held hostage. President Tinubu gives assurance to the parents that both the federal and Niger state governments are working closely to reunite all abducted students with their families. The president emphasizes that from now on, security agencies working with the governors must prevent future kidnappings, as children should no longer be sitting ducks for heartless terrorists intent on disrupting their education and subjecting them and their parents to unspeakable trauma. President Bola Tinubu this Monday met with 6 state governors, including Monday Okpeolo of Edo State, Umar Namadi of Jigawa, Nasir Idris of Kebbi, Ahmed Ududu of Kogi, Lucky Aidatiwa of Ondo State, and Ahmed Aliu of Sokoto. The meeting lasted about 40 minutes behind closed doors. Details of the meeting were not disclosed, but State House correspondent Musbau Danwahab reports that the president is continuing consultations on how to strengthen security across states of the federation. The federal government just secured the release of 100 out of the students kidnapped by bandits in Niger State, following the earlier release of those taken away in Kebbi State. Vice President Kashim Shettima was among African leaders who witnessed the inauguration of President Alassane Ouattara as the re-elected leader of Côte d'Ivoire for the 4th term in office. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that the Vice President also met with World Bank Director of Operations Anna Schroed in Abidjan.
African leaders in Abidjan, alongside other prominent personalities from across the world, to witness the inauguration of President Alassane Ouattara of Côte d'Ivoire for the 4th time in office. Vice President Kashim Shettima witnessed the event, representing President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Palace in Abidjan. Alassane Ouattara was re-elected for a 4th term in office on October 25, 2025 as President of Côte d'Ivoire, a West African country that shares cordial diplomatic ties with Nigeria.
Toutes les personnes et toutes les institutions qui ont travaillé.
President Alassane Ouattara promised to extend on his legacies for the well-being of his citizens and democratic governance, as well as strengthen diplomatic relations among nations. Nigeria and Côte d'Ivoire have collaborated significantly within ECOWAS and the African Union, especially on security and trade. Meanwhile, the World Bank has applauded the reforms policies of President Tinubu's administration, pledging to heighten its partnership with the nation on energy, job creation and gender empowerment initiatives. The global financial institution stated this in Abidjan when Vice President Kashim Shettima received in audience the Managing Director Operations of the World Bank Group, Ms. Anne, on the sidelines of the presidential inauguration.
This is why we are focused on investment in human capital, on gender empowerment initiatives, investments in the digital economy, and of course on agriculture for enhanced productivity. This way it will be a win-win situation. The early childhood development program with there was a study done in Peru where the gray matter infrastructure of a young child who is well paid and a malnourished child were compared. Those stunted kids are permanently disabled for life.
The Managing Director Operations of the World Bank Group, Ms. Anne, commended Nigeria for taking pragmatic initiatives to position the country on the right path. noting that the World Bank is willing to partner more on energy and enhancement of the girl-child education in Nigeria. From Abuja, Rahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Well, it seems I'm more right-handed than left-handed, so I had to switch. And still on diplomatic relations, the Deputy President of the Senate and First Deputy Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Barrow Jibrin, has hailed President Bola Tinubu for promptly acceding to the request of the government of Benin Republic for Nigeria's military intervention to thwart the coup attempt in the country. The swift intervention of the Nigerian armed forces played a leading role in foiling the coup and restoring law and order in the neighboring country. Barrow, in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ismail Mudashir, describes democracy as the best system of government, noting that military government has no place in the modern world scheme of things. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, says the armed forces is reinforcing its joint operational structure to stay ahead of Nigeria's evolving security threats. In a message delivered at the 2025 Defense Exhibition, the CDS explained that the reforms would be driven by the creation of a permanent joint theater command, improved intelligence coordination, and technology-driven operations. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
From advanced weapon systems, drones to communication equipment and tactical combat vehicles, the exhibition showcases indigenous military hardware and the rising demand for force multipliers on land, sea and air. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, stressed that modern warfare have moved beyond the traditional domain, a development that requires strategic thinking and stronger collaboration across the entire security architecture.
It's actually frightening that in future we might not be fighting, human weapons against human. We might be fighting robots, autonomous weapon systems. Human footprints will try to be raised in all the spheres of warfare. And then we're having the advent of what they call killer robots, a situation where in future these things take over. How well are we prepared for this? We're looking at having integrated command centers in preparation for our future wars.
In every foreign missions that our armed forces have participated will come first, be it ECOMOG, be it United Nations. So I am 100% convinced that in no time, with these new applications of new technologies, I'm convinced that Nigeria will come on top again.
Stakeholders believe that partnerships emerging from the expo could enhance Nigeria's defense posture, particularly technology-driven warfare and improved joint operations. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Well, still on operations, Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum has paid a solidarity visit to troops of 25 Task Force Brigade of the Nigerian Army, restating the support of government and people of the state for their relentless fight against Boko Haram ISWAP insurgents. The governor addressed troops at the frontline military base in Damboa, headquarters of Damboa local government area. Muhammad Goni reports.
The visit was part of the governor's tour of communities in southern Borno affected by recent terror attacks. Governor Zulum said he was in Damboa to commiserate with the troops over the recent setback that claimed the lives of some personnel.
Since the incident that has happened in Damboa about a month ago, both the federal government of Nigeria and indeed the Borno state government are working in partnership with a view to providing the necessary requirements to the Nigerian military with a view to ending this crisis.
He acknowledged their sacrifice and daily commitment, commending what he described as their giant efforts in the ongoing battle to secure Borno State and protect civilians from the threat of Boko Haram. Professor Zulum also inspected the newly built ultra-modern General Hospital Damboa, waiting for inauguration. In Chibok, headquarters of Chibok local government, the governor commiserated with residents over the loss of lives and property following terror attacks. He announced financial assistance of 1 million naira to each bereaved family and 500,000 naira to those whose property were destroyed during the recent attacks. Governor Zulum further inspected ongoing construction of a mega school in Chibok, expressing satisfaction with the quality of work and urging the contractor to expedite action to meet the completion target. The governor also assessed erosion damage on a section of Chibok-Damboa Road and directed the Commissioner for Works to commence temporary repairs as the state works out a permanent solution. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Disinformation has become a major threat to modern policing, leading to lack of trust in security agencies by the citizens. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, stated this at the annual Police Public Relations Officers Conference in Abuja. Francis Form reports that the IGP, however, charged his men not to relent in correcting the wrong narrative.
Seated here are the various public relations officers of the force for the 2025 annual conference of the Police Public Relations Officers.
Your role as public relations officers is not peripheral.
Inspector General of Police described the annual convergence as more than a routine calendar event, but a strategic national engagement designed to strengthen the capacity of the force to engage the public, shape narratives constructively, and deepen trust between the police and the citizens.
Public relations function of the Nigerian police has become a frontline operational instrument in the security environment where information warfare, misinformation, disinformation, and perception management have become major challenges. The battle for the mind is now as critical as the battle against crime. And you, our public relations officers, stand as commanders on the front line of that battle.
We have to find ways to address the damages that AI-generated fake news is causing to the public space.
Every community interaction and every media engagement is an opportunity to reinforce the values of integrity.
We will do more to project the giant strides of this administration. We will bring the police closer to the people, and together we will lead the charge against fake news.
Beyond statistics and enforcement achievements, the IGP urged PROs to humanize policing by telling stories of compassion, sacrifice, mediation, and service, adding that Nigerians must see and hear about officers who go beyond the call of duty to save lives and restore peace. Francis Form, NTA News.
This is the Netherlands has promised to harness the nation's dominant population, the youth, through adequate support to sustain the implementation of its policies geared towards building a secure democratic society. President Bola Tinubu was represented by the Minister of Information and National Orientation at the unveiling of the My Nigeria, My Responsibility project at the State House. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
This event demonstrates the successes being recorded in transforming the youth and showcase their determination to remain critical partners in advancing purposeful governance. The president represented says his administration is intentional in reigniting patriotism through responsible citizenship, as evident in the administration's journey so far.
When you pay your fair share, you are directly investing in the school your child attends, the road to your businesses, and the security that guards your homes. That is the essence of My Nigeria, My Responsibility. Today, the NELFON has brought into active beneficiaries over 600,000 Nigerian students. Over 120 billion naira has already been expended in just less than 2 years. Just imagine what this will do at the end of the first term of this administration.
The Birth of My Nigeria, My Responsibility campaign is an initiative for value reorientation among the people.
From today, you have to ask yourself, what is my responsibility to my nation? Once you do that, you see a clear pathway to national rebirth and national consolidation.
The government has its own responsibilities, institutions have their mandate, but the soul of any nation is carried by its people. When citizens embrace integrity, respect for the law, community service, and patriotism, development becomes not just possible, but inevitable.
A nation rises when its citizens rise. It falls when its citizens withdraw or retreat into apathy. In all of this, responsive leadership and followership with responsibility are necessary.
Participants were unanimous that the new initiative, when channeled to the right audience using the right platforms, will reignite patriotism and engender development. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
My Nigeria, my responsibility. And now the federal government has earmarked 3 billion naira as equity grant for eligible students, STEM students, in science, technology, engineering, mathematics and medical sciences to commercialize their innovations. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, announced this at the launch of the initiative tagged Student Venture Capital Grant SVCG program. Zenret Dingmun reports.
Advancing research and developing intellectual property beyond the idea stage is one way to spark the fire of ingenuity in young Nigerians. Targeting STEM students, this program is a strategic intervention to mine the next generation of high-impact solution generators right from the campuses.
From pioneering environmental solutions to practical technological innovations, countless students' projects with real-world impact potential have been abundant.
Not every idea will become a startup, but it is a sincere hope some will evolve into patent and licensable technologies with potential for significant local and global impact.
Speed is going to be the transformational journey of not just the educational sector, but the entire economic sector that these students will be targeting.
This is the first time we have a president since inception of democracy in this country since 1999 that decided to give Nigerian student loan to go to school.
With local and global partnerships, each individual or team of researchers will access 50 million in seed fund, accompanied by intensive incubation process, expert mentorship, and access to global networks and tools. In Abuja, Zenret Dingmun, NTA News.
50 million also shows up in our next story. Nigeria's efforts in mass immunization have led to more than 50 million children being vaccinated against yellow fever, measles and HPV for young women in just 2 years. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, attributes this success to President Tinubu's commitment to maintaining Nigeria's polio-free status through revitalization of physical primary health infrastructure drive. Also addressing world leaders and philanthropists at the Global Polio Pledge event in Abu Dhabi, one of Nigeria's foremost development partners and renowned philanthropist Bill Gates said developing countries are at higher risk of a polio resurgence and require more than what the international community is currently making available to protect the health of the world's populous global south.
Billions of dollars invested, hundreds of thousands of dedicated health workers working across multiple countries. We have achieved a feat that has to be completed.
And although we have a long ways to go to get every country to that point, our aspiration over the next 20 years is that we get every country to have healthy kids who thrive, and that they're completely self-sufficient.
Talking reward for excellence next, and in less than a week, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has bagged the Nigeria Excellence Award in Public Service, along with more than 40 other distinguished public servants. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports that the ceremony was organized by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Best Strategic Media.
Thank you very much for... It was a roll call of distinguished public servants who have demonstrated impactful and outstanding leadership across the federal and state governments. Secretary to the Government of the Federation presented the awards to the awardees on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Congratulations to you.
This is a call to renew our shared responsibility to Nigeria and to honor those who labor tirelessly to move our nation forward. We are deeply grateful to His Excellency, our President, for championing a culture that rewards excellence in governance.
His deep understanding and management of Nigeria pluralism, the creation of a functional information management system that is building creativity and credibility using technology and creating an enabling environment for the media to thrive are some of the achievements that endeared the organizers to the government spokesman, Mohammed Idris.
We'll continue to say it as it is. Of course, we are supposed to shape communication for development, for the good and for the progress of our country. This is the mandate given to me by Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We thank him for the opportunity that he has given us to serve our fatherland. We will continue to do that. As regarding what we do, we'll continue to restore trust in public communication. This is what I think is the major challenge. We're going to also look at ways and means of also fighting fake news, fighting misinformation, because these are two very dangerous issues that are living with us. They can make or mar a society and a community, and therefore we'll continue to work hard to ensure that Nigeria is not just informed, but is informed properly in accordance with what the rules and regulations are.
He promised to uphold those virtues that endeared public servants to the people, irrespective of their political, tribe, or religious affiliations. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
The wife of the Vice President Nana Shettima has congratulated Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu over her chieftaincy conferment as Yeye Ashiwaju Gbogbo Ile Oodua by the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi. In a personally signed congratulatory message, Nana Shettima eulogizes efforts by the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu towards nurturing the younger generation, her dedication and selfless service to humanity, especially her motherly compassion towards vulnerable persons across the nation. Commending the First Lady for her Renewed Hope initiative, which continues to touch lives, Nana Shettima extends congratulations to the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, on his 10th coronation anniversary on the revered throne. It's now time to join our Lagos Network Center.
Najatu. The Nigerian Army is accustomed to grappling with numerous operations, both domestically and abroad. Now it is keenly focused on ensuring its combat readiness amidst contemporary threats in joint and multi-agency theaters. This was revealed in a message to the graduates of the Logistics Staff Course 23 of 2025 in Lagos. Lynn Leneke reports that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, was represented by the GOC 81 Division Major General Farouk Mijinyawa.
Logisticians have remained the backbone, equipping officers with analytical, planning, and leadership skills relevant in today's joint and combined operational environment. In a message to the event, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, who was represented by the General Officer Commanding 81 Division, encouraged the graduates to translate the knowledge acquired into impactful service.
Today marks another important milestone for both the professional development of the graduates and in our collective effort to build an army that is adaptive and resilient.
The Commandant, Nigerian Army College of Logistics and Management, Major General Adewale Adetoba, explained that the Nigerian Army views combat readiness as crucial to military operations. Therefore, producing effective leaders and staff officers for joint operating environment is appropriate.
I'm confident that they are better prepared to contribute meaningfully to the Nigerian Army's ongoing transformation efforts.
196 senior officers drawn from the armed forces participated in the Senior and Junior Leadership and Staff Officers Course 23/2025. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
The unity of any nation is shrouded on the principles of fairness, equity, and justice for all. These were some of the ideals of the late Tony Ipriye Uranta that family, friends, and colleagues seek to uphold as they held the first memorial lecture in honor of the social reformer in Lagos. Speaking at the memorial lecture, which had as its theme Unity in Diversity, Building a National Identity Beyond Ethno-Religious Fault Lines, Professor Pat Utomi said, weaponizing differences politically and deepening the cleavages of emotional blackmail is responsible for the divisions in the country.
Central to everything is a heart and a head advancing the good of this great country.
Ambassador Godknows Igali and other guests said Nigeria is an intentional creation of the founding fathers who insisted on the oneness of the contraption called Nigeria, recalling that the late civil rights activist believed strongly that out of diversity, a society that is just, fair, and provides for every Nigerian can be built.
We believe that Nigeria holds the destiny of the black man, and we will fine-tune this country through dialogue, through conversations.
We also believe that intermarriage can help us to bridge the gap.
The rule of law should exist for every Nigerian equally. That's what Tony stood for.
Widow and daughter say he was passionate about the country's unity, a legacy they must continue to uphold.
Diversity is actually diverse opportunities for collaborativeness.
My dad was a pillar to everyone.
The lecture, organized by the Tony Ipriye Uranta's Foundation, also featured a panel session which focused on finding unity and progress in Nigeria's diversity. The late Tony Ipriye Uranta's 72nd posthumous birthday was also celebrated at the memorial lecture. Those are the reports from Lagos.
Thanks for staying tuned. The National Youth Service NYSC scheme needs to evolve into a modern, tech-driven, financially sustainable and skill-focused institution to address contemporary challenges. The highlight at a stakeholder consultative forum on reforming the NYSC in Abuja, where speakers said with the reforms, government's target of a $1 trillion economy is achievable. Olainka Oju reports.
For over 5 decades, the NYSC scheme has been a symbol of unity, civic responsibility, and national integration. These values are needed more than ever as Nigeria is confronted with challenging economic pressures, emerging security dynamics, rapid technological advancement, and shift labor market demands. Stakeholders here, with shared national commitment, believe no youth development program can succeed without modern governance system, shared financial digital infrastructure, and strong sector alignment.
The draft framework, which will be presented today, must address these gaps.
So that after the NYSC, whatever skill and innovation they get from the NYSC should reflect to their future.
The NYSC Trust Fund Bill and a review of the NYSC bylaw began before I assumed office. We have continued to follow up to see them reach a logical conclusion.
Findings by members of the committee inaugurated in May this year indicate that the NYSC Act is obsolete and inadequate for digital-enabled administration, coupled with the fact that the scheme's funding model is fragile and relies mostly on federal allocations.
Reorganization of the scheme into three-tier governance structure, the national, state and local government to strengthen accountability, creation of a 2 billion naira NYSC Innovation Fund to support digital system.
The states who benefit largely from the NYSC must invest in it.
The reform proposal envisions a phased implementation between 2026 to 2028, beginning with legislative amendments and digital pilots in 2026. A communique is expected at the end of the stakeholders' consultative forum. Olainka Ojo, NTA News.
Still talking the economy, let's join Musa Abubakar for updates in the world of business. Musa?
Thank you, Naja. Well, as the world prepares to mark the International Anti-Corruption Day, young people have been urged to add their voices and actively support the fight against corruption in Nigeria. While the federal government continues to receive commendation for its progress in asset recovery, the Center for Fiscal Responsibility and Public Integrity says more must be done in the area of corruption prevention, stressing that Nigerian youths remain instrumental to achieving long-term change.
In the area of prevention, we are not doing well at all. We are not doing well. We need to prevent the public sector corruption. We need to prevent procurement fraud and all of those enablers. And in other areas, in the legal framework, institutional framework, we are also doing very well. But fighting corruption is an ongoing process. It's not something you just achieve within 1 year or 2 years.
Shaming those who have positioned themselves to abuse power and all of it. So
they see the issue of corruption, they should report it as soon as possible, very fast.
At the capital market, the Nigerian stock market closed in positive territory today as renewed investor interest lifted key indicators. Mupalanda Kok has the numbers.
NGX All-Share Index advanced to 147,427.95 points, reflecting improved sentiment across major sectors. Market participation was strong, with investors executing 30,090 deals for a total volume of 550.86 million shares. In value terms, equities worth 13.86 billion naira were traded, underscoring active positioning by both retail and institutional players. Meanwhile, the equities market capitalization rose to 93.97 trillion naira, supported by gains in large cap stocks. Morrison Industries led the gainers with 9.89% share price appreciation to close at 3 naira 89 kobo per share. It was followed by the Nigerian Police Force Microfinance Bank, Sovereign Trust Insurance, and Caverton Offshore Support Group. On the losing side, Dow Communications came out last with an end-of-year depreciation of 7.14% at 91 kobo per share, followed by Livestock Feeds, Nigerian Aviation Handling Company, and Union Deconsult. Overall, the market's positive close signals a continuation of bargain hunting activities and renewed confidence among investors.
What does it? It's now time to pause for some messages. The news continues after.
You're welcome to sports. Handball Federation of Nigeria commends Nigerian Army for timely intervention and rescue of Benue Buffaloes handball team after an armed robbery attack along Otukpo-Makudi Expressway. President, Handball Federation of Nigeria, Said Jibril Oji, in a telephone conversation with the NTA, confirmed that the attack occurred while the team was returning to Makudi after they finished ninth in the second phase of the Adova Handball League, which ended in Lagos last weekend. He assured on the Federation's commitment to support the team as they navigate this tough experience and bounce back in future national competitions. In football, Nasarawa United returned to the top of the Nigeria Premier Football League standings after a hard-earned 1-0 win over Shooting Stars of Ibadan in Lafia earlier today. The Solid Miners took the lead in the 65th minute through Moyi Hassan. The victory brings Nasarawa United's total to 30 points from 16 matches, placing them 2 points ahead of Ikorodu City. and 3 points clear of Rivers United, who have 2 games in hand due to their involvement in the CAF Champions League. In another action at the Rashidi Yekini main bowl of the Kwara State Stadium, Bendel Insurance secured a 1-0 victory over Katsina United to move out of the relegation zone. Let's leave the shores of the country. Bayern Munich hosts Sporting CP, that's Sporting Lisbon, at the Allianz Arena for a crucial UEFA Champions League on March Day 6, Tuesday. Elsewhere, Chelsea are up against Atalanta in Italy, while Barcelona welcome Eintracht Frankfurt to Camp Nou. Egyptian forward Mo Salah has been left out of Liverpool's squad to face Inter Milan at the Giuseppe Meazza, while AS Monaco face Galatasaray at Stade Louis II. And that's your sports. It's back to Najatu.
Thank you, Ayodeji Makinde. And with sports update, we conclude the network news on NTA. Thanks for being a part of it. I'm Najatu Tijani.